What's up, everyone? So, it's been a really long time since I've made a video, probably about a year and a half now. Um, Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But I really enjoy making videos and kind of dissecting my thoughts almost and thinking about what I'm thinking about more, getting new ideas and expanding on old ones. So, one idea that I've had lately is, I want to create a course for people to learn uh, really complex movements. Um, and I was just thinking, what is the simplest starting point that I could have for someone? Um, and I was thinking specifically of handstands because I fucking love handstands, and I do a lot of stuff with it. And I was thinking, well, a push-up position maybe is probably a good place to start for a lot of people because a lot of people can't maintain a push-up position for long, but they have enough general strength to be able to do it. So it's a good starting point possibly. But then I was like, well, maybe some people aren't strong enough to hold a push-up position, so knee push-up, whatever. Um, and then I was like, well, I imagine that 99% of people will be able to maintain a knee push-up position, but what if they just don't know how to position themselves? Like, it doesn't matter how strong you are if you don't know how to properly move your body. You can't really utilize your strength to its fullest capacity, and it's also it leaves you at a greater risk for injury because it could create muscle imbalances and all that stuff. And it would also just hinder your progress to not know how to move your body. So I came to the conclusion that the simplest, most basic thing I could have people work on is literally individual joint articulation. So just learning how to move your body and what each piece of your body does. Um, so that's where I wanted to start with all of this. And it I feel like knowing how to move your body or and how your body moves can only help you in literally any kind of sports activity or physical practice that you may have. It will help you be more mindful of what you're doing if you know what your body can do and if you practice doing the things that it should be able to do. Um, so, like just having this base of being able to articulate all of your body, um, I feel is the best starting point for anyone in a physical practice. Like, obviously, you need to be strong and you need to be mobile. So, those are two things you should always be working on. But coordination is something that a lot of people just lack, and they don't know how to do things properly. Um, and it can be devastating if you go for a really long time without realizing that you're doing something differently on one side than on the other. And it can also, again, really improve your progress in most physical practices if you know what your body is doing. Um, so, expanding on that, I began to think of I was watching this tutorial by Master Tricking. Um, it's I found it on Instagram, and I believe the owner is or the proprietor, whatever, I think his name is Brandon or Brenton or something like that. Something starts with a B. And he makes really good videos, but he uses easier movements to progress up to more difficult ones. So he doesn't say, like, all right, when you do this, you need to, you know, like open your shoulder and like retract your scapula and then internally rotate your hip. Like, he doesn't. Well, actually, I haven't seen all of his tutorials, so I can't say. But the one that I watched, he specifically used easier movements that were similar to work up to the desired movement, which I used to do as well. When I started learning acrobatics and when I was teaching parkour, I would do that a lot. But it's not something that I ever really thought about a lot in depth. And, you know, it's just really interesting to be able to go from, you know, all right, push your shoulder forward, push your shoulder backward, lift it, depress it. It's interesting to go from that to, okay, let's do this cartwheel. Now let's do this Gumby. Now let's do this Sailor Moon. Now we'll do this touchdown rise. Now we have our rise. Rise is a tricking movement. It's fucking beautiful, and I've been trying to learn it. I can do it pretty decently on one side, but not so much on the other. And I haven't figured out why exactly yet, but it's a work in progress. And this idea of building more complex movements off of basic ones is just really interesting. So basically, if you want to improve your physical capacity, no matter what your sport is or your practice is, I believe that you should be able to articulate your body in every way possible, and you should know how your body moves and how to move it. I think that those things are the best base for, like, even more than strength and mobility, is just knowing how to move properly. And then you build strength in certain movements, and you build mobility in certain ranges, and you know, you take those articulations and you add load and you add range, and you add complexity to it, and that's how you get better at things. But you need to start with the basics of, like, can you move your head? Can you tilt it? Can you retract it and tilt it? Can you push it forward and tilt it? Like, how can you move your body? Like, do you know all the ways that you can? Are you expanding on the ways that you can move your body in a lot of different ways, not just in, you know, being strong or being bendy? Yeah, so I just wanted to share this idea and, you know, get back to making these kinds of videos. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.